Ladies and gentlemen, Gay Kim here. Welcome to the Daily Update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Market is up quite a bit here today, 1.7% positive on the S&P. Nasdaq did the same. Semiconductor led the entire market with a big 3% gain today. Dow 1.5, same with the Russell 2000. Transport caught a bit, 2.1% positive. Same with the banks, 1.6. Energy up, all along with the biotech, healthcare. Home builders up close to 3% today. Utilities up 1% or so. Retail 1.5. Laggard today is the emerging market, but you can see today here, all these numbers here, big, bright, green day today. Bitcoin is up a little bit. Gold, silver, miners, notably silver and miners been catching some bids last couple of days, up 2.2%. GDX I think was up 3% yesterday. Dollar's flat, oil's up a little bit. Treasury bond pretty much flat also. VIX is down about 10% there. Let's go with the S&P 500 ETF. Spider, 65-minute chart here. So we've talked about this entire week that buyers are slowly, ever so slowly, gaining momentum, gaining confidence, and they're trying to find that strength to sneak in here and to fill that down gap, which we've been talking about. I'm going to zoom out here and talk about that. But you can see here, this is what I call jumping over the fence. We talked about the short-term moving average acting as that pivot, right? Prior resistance. And this is kind of what we talked about, that bears wanted to utilize this as a new resistance, right? Well, buyers, they're basically saying, you know what? I don't want to deal with this level. I don't want to have to go through all kinds of resistance. There's another resistance here. So you can see why the buyers had to gap up today. Again, I call it jumping over the fence because we have short-term moving average could potentially act as resistance, already act as resistance here, and on the fifth hour yesterday there, we got that falling resistance, right? So even bulls, if they go out, if they can have to thrust above the short-term moving average, right above it, we got this falling resistance is also going to act as resistance. So there's a double resistance that bulls needed to go through. And because we've been in this kind of hectic environment in the last month and a half, including, entire month of September, half month of October, bulls be like, okay, I want a most smooth transition to the upside, and that would be gapping up over the resistances, right? First, the short-term moving average, don't deal with that. Falling resistance, don't deal with that. What do? Just gap it over, right? And then all day long, the market has been deep green. The reason being is that a lot of people are already looking at certain levels, right? A lot of people are looking to get into the market. This market is already kind of extended since the COVID lows last year. So any kind of a correction, just because the market has been in this raising bull market, keep in mind, market is only down, S&P only suffered 6% correction since the all-time high peak in September 1st, which is nothing in this market. 6%, we can't even call that a real correction. We need to have something 10% or more to call it a real correction. 6% correction, 6% decline, it can happen anytime, any day of the week, just for a spike, just for no reason, no technical reasons, no fundamental reasons, just, supply and demand, fear and greed, right? So that's what we saw. And with that, I think, with this little chop fest that we've seen last couple of weeks, I think buyers were already kind of looking, waiting for excuse to get into it. And so you can see right here, I think buyers, there's a big gap up here. And we did see that first hour move, but it dripped lower. And we talked about how at the time, the gap wasn't fully filled. You guys remember this? And that's going to be a problem. The gap must be fully filled. Remember we talked about this? What happened? hectic for 3-4 days or so. It came all the way back down. It made bears very excited and made a lot of bulls to be discouraged. But we also talked about bulls are still there though, because you can see we got this higher high here and higher lows cultivation. And we also talked about that what bulls need to pull something is that potentially making this into an inverted head and shoulders formation, and they did that with the gap up. And I talked about this gap that wasn't filled here. That kind of mistake cannot be made again from the buyer's standpoint, because you can see we made a big move. They were not able to push it all the way up, came down, gathered momentum again. Bulls got back up today. However, we fully fill that gap today. So that threat is neutralized. This is a win for the buyers, at least in the short term of things, right? When I say short term, I really mean, this month of October, right? So short to midterm, I guess, because we're retesting the midterm moving average. So short to midterm, this price action that we've seen today, this is bulls victory. And with that, we also have another cultivation of higher high here, and with that, higher lows. So in the short term here, we do have a cultivation of higher lows and higher highs. They're establishing an uptrend here, and the gap got filled. Only question now remaining is how the buyer is going to deal with this midterm moving average, because you can see that's a support here. That's a resistance here and there. We got right to it. Price were just drilling the bears, right? Just thrusting all day long. And then all of a sudden, it slows down right at that level. It is not a coincidence. It is not a mistake. It is not a random occurrence that it slowed down right there. Because we had a big push, and the bulls finally filled that gap. So that's kind of like a double resistance. It's very, very important how buyers, how they behave in this vicinity. So I think what I want to talk about is, because this gap got filled, a lot of times when the gap gets filled, it does act as instant resistance. It kind of did that in the last few hours, but you can see strength on the last hour. We said lower wick here, but we closed the day in a strong note. Not a red candle, but bullish looking candle there. So buyers could potentially gap it up one more time, because when we check out that oscillator here, it is not quite at the overbought. We just got a little bit more energy left. You see that? We quite didn't. That red line is extreme overbought. This means buyers know that throughout the trading session, right? It's tired already. So what they need to do, they need to gap it up overnight. That's the only way they can make something out of this, having just a little bit of energy left. Because throughout the day, during the trading day, intraday, there's going to be too much opposition. There's too much to go through. We got the midterm moving average. So best case scenario would be gapping it up and possibly go there, either fill this gap or kind of stall in this vicinity, gather momentum. Obviously, bulls do need to fill this gap. Bulls finally got to fill that gap, and that's a great achievement. But this gap is the next target for the bulls. I know I talked a lot about bulls today, but keep in mind, bears, what happened was when this gap was open, things got a little bit hectic here for the bears. So obviously, if we do see this level acting as resistance tomorrow, and we do see a downturn tomorrow, bulls need to protect 439 and protect this gap. Obviously, bears want to come back down, fill the entirety of this gap. The longer this gap remains open. Keep in mind though, only problem right now is that short-term moving average residing in that vicinity. Last time we did see, you see that bulls came about? You can see right there, bulls came about right there. They try to get it up, but bears had a little bit more strength at the time. I wonder if bears can do similar thing where just bring it all the way down and fill that gap again, right? Because there's another gap that opens just exactly same level. right? So right now, bulls need to, there's two agendas here there are agendas for bulls and bears. Right now, bulls do need to, if there's a downside, bulls need to protect 439, this gap. That short-term moving average has been tamed. It's probably going to act as support if we do come back down there. And bulls got up and filled this gap. Bears, utilize this midterm moving average as resistance, bring it back down, and ultimately you want to fill this up gap and neutralize this bullish pressure, buying pressure, because if this gap remains open, bulls will go up and fill this gap, and they'll make it to the new all-time highs. As long as this gap remains open, bulls will find a way back to the all-time high level. So I'll come back for you on Monday. We'll reassess the situation. Tomorrow, I will tweet things out at 2K Kim on StockTwits and Twitter, and Monday morning. Enjoy your evening, and good luck trading tomorrow.